Welcome in, and settle slowly, because there is nowhere else you need to be now. And nothing at all that needs your attention except this quiet moment. This soft evening. This gentle drifting into rest. You have already done enough for one day. So let the day loosen its grip a little, and let the evening hold you. There is no rush here, no obligation, no need to solve, fix, answer, complete, or prepare. Only this breath, and then the next. Take a slow breath in through the nose, soft and easy, as though you were breathing in the quiet of a still room. And let it go, gently, slowly, as though the air itself is learning how to rest. Again, breathe in, not deeply in a strained way, but comfortably, naturally, as if your whole body already knows how to relax. And breathe out, longer now, letting the shoulders ease, letting the jaw soften, letting the hands be quiet. One more slow breath in, and this one can be a little warmer, a little softer, as if the breath is carrying calm into every corner of you. And let that breath leave you with ease, like a curtain settling after a long day, like still water after a small ripple. And now simply notice that you are here, and that being here is enough. Nothing needs to happen. Nothing needs to change. You do not need to hold yourself together. You do not need to hold anything at all. Just breathe, and rest in the breathing, and let the quiet begin to spread. Feel how the next breath arrives on its own, and how each exhale can be a little slower than the last. There is time. There is softness. There is room for stillness. And as you keep breathing, slowly and steadily, you may begin to notice how the body understands the language of peace. How it listens when it is spoken to gently. How it responds when it is given permission to soften, and sink, and rest. Bring your attention now to your feet, all the way down at the bottom of you, where the day has carried you from place to place, and stood for you, and moved for you, and balanced you through everything that came. Your feet have worked well today. They can rest now. Let them feel heavy, warm, and quiet, as though they are setting themselves down on a soft, safe surface, and no longer need to do anything at all. Notice your ankles, so often forgotten, so faithfully steady, allowing your steps, helping you move through the day in ways both small and large. They have done enough. They may relax now, and soften, and be still. Feel your calves, the long muscles that have supported you, lifted you, carried you forward. They can release now, loosening like tension leaving a well-made bed, like tightness dissolving into warmth. Whatever you were carrying can wait on the nightstand until morning. Notice your knees, these patient joints that have bent, risen, turned, and steadied you through the hours. They do not need to hold anything anymore. They can settle, and rest, and become easy. Feel your thighs, strong and dependable, working all day in their quiet way. They may grow heavy now, pleasantly heavy, as though they are being gently tucked in by the evening itself. Bring awareness to your hips, your lower back, the places that often gather the weight of the day without complaint. There is no need for them to keep carrying that weight now. They can widen, soften, and let go into support. Feel your abdomen, where breath moves in and out, where so much has been held, sometimes without being noticed. Let this place become soft and calm. Let it be quiet. Let it be at ease. Feel your chest, the space that rises and falls so faithfully, the place where effort and feeling often meet. There is no need to brace here now. The the chest may rest. The breath may move gently, unhurried, and smooth. Notice your shoulders. Those hard-working shoulders that have carried bags, tasks, thoughts, and invisible weight through the day. Let them drop just a little. Then a little more. Let them melt away from the ears, and down again. Feel your arms, from upper arm to elbow to forearm to wrist, all the way to the hands. They have reached, held, typed, lifted, opened, closed, and managed so many small things today. Now they may become pleasantly still. Let the fingers uncurl. Let the palms rest. Let the hands remember that nothing is asking for them now. Bring your awareness to your neck, the delicate bridge between thought and body, where tension often gathers quietly. Let it lengthen and soften and become easy. There is nothing to watch for, nothing to prepare for. Only this safe, warm stillness. Feel your jaw, and let it unclench. Let the tongue rest easily in the mouth. Let the lips be soft. Let the face become smooth, loose, and calm. Notice the cheeks, the nose, the space around the eyes, the forehead. The eyes have seen enough for now. The forehead can flatten. The whole face may settle into a quiet expression of rest. And now feel your entire body together, from feet to head, as one calm shape, one quiet presence, one soft and supported resting place. The work of the day is done. The body knows how to sleep. The body knows how to be held by the night. Now imagine that you are in a small stone cottage on the shore of a still mountain lake in the Lake District. Late at night, when the fire is burning low and the world outside has become very quiet. The cottage is warm from the inside out, and the walls hold the heat the way old stones can hold the memory of sunlight. The air inside carries the smell of pine smoke and cedar, faint and comforting, like a woodland path after rain, like a cupboard of carefully kept blankets, like a room that has been loved for many years. You are standing near the hearth for a moment, and the fire is not bright now, only glowing softly with a bed of embers that crackle and settle and breathe in their own sleepy way. There is a thick wool blanket over the back of a leather armchair, and the blanket looks heavy and kind, as though it has been waiting all evening to welcome someone home. A bowl of warm soup sits on a small wooden table nearby, with a piece of crusty bread beside it, and the steam rises slowly, carrying a rich, simple scent that feels like comfort itself. The window pane is cold when you touch it, a cool glass against the warm room air, and that contrast only makes the cottage feel even safer, more enclosed, more tenderly protected from the world beyond. Outside, the frost is forming on the grass, a thin silver whitening under the moonlight, and beyond the cottage the lake lies still and dark and reflective, holding the moon like a quiet secret. You can see the moonlight on the water, silver and smooth, with no ripples, only a soft shining path that stretches toward the far shore and then dissolves into shadow. There is a teacup on the table too, warm in the hands, with steam drifting upward in a slow pale ribbon. The tea tastes mild and comforting, and the bread is warm enough to soften beneath your fingers, its crust giving way with a quiet little crackle. Everything in the room feels settled. The clock, if there is one, is not urgent. The fire is not asking to be watched. The lake is not asking to be crossed. The night is simply being night, and the cottage is simply being a cottage, and you are simply being here, wrapped into a place that feels so contained, so peaceful, so deeply sheltered that even the air itself seems to rest. The wooden beams overhead are dark and steady. The rug beneath your feet is thick and worn smooth, and every surface seems to have learned the shape of calm. A soft pillow rests on the armchair, and the wool blanket has a faint lanolin scent mixed with cedar and smoke, which somehow makes the whole room feel older, gentler, and more secure. The night outside is clear and cold, but it remains far away, beyond the panes of glass, beyond the stone walls, beyond the comfort of the small circle of firelight. Inside, there is only warmth, and wood, and wool, and steam, and the slow exhale of the room. And because nothing is demanding your attention, you may begin to wander very gently through this quiet little world, letting the story unfold in the softest possible way. You begin by taking the narrow path around the cottage, moving slowly, with no hurry at all, feeling the firm ground beneath your feet and the faint crispness of frost in the air. The cold is light and clean, not sharp, only enough to remind you that you are inside a pocket of warmth, a small and sheltered place where the winter night cannot truly reach you. Your breath leaves you as a faint pale cloud, and disappears almost immediately, while the moon hangs above the lake in a still, bright silence. The grass glitters with frost, each blade holding a tiny spark of silver, and the whole garden seems to rest beneath a soft spell of moonlight. A low stone wall edges the path, and the stones are old and rounded, touched by years of rain and wind, yet they remain steady, solid, content to keep their place. You let your hand brush the top of the wall, and the stone is cold, but not unpleasant, and the cold feels clean and simple, as though it too is resting. Beyond the wall, there is a small bench facing the lake. You sit there for a while, and the bench gives you its quiet support without ceremony, without asking for anything in return. The lake is so still that it almost looks like a second sky laid down beneath the first, and the mountain ridge on the far side is only a dark suggestion, a calm outline under the stars. The air has the scent of pine from a few trees along the edge of the garden, and the scent reaches you in gentle waves when the breeze passes. It is a breeze so light it hardly seems to move at all, but you feel it touch your cheeks, touch your hands, and then slip away again. The cottage window glows behind you, a soft amber rectangle in the dark, and you know that when you turn back, you will find the room exactly as you left it, waiting without impatience. You remain there a little longer, listening to the tiny sounds that only quiet places can reveal. The faint ticking of cooling wood, the whisper of grass, the almost imagined movement of the lake as it holds its stillness. Everything feels slow enough now to be kind. And when you rise, you do so slowly, as though the night itself is helping you move. You walk along the side of the cottage to a small side door that opens into a narrow kitchen lined with old shelves and smooth wooden counters. The kitchen is dim, lit by the last low fire glow spilling through the doorway, and by a lamp with a soft yellow shade that does not insist on brightness. A kettle sits on the stove, warm and settled, and beside it there are jars of tea leaves, a basket of onions, a bowl of apples, and a folded cloth with tiny blue flowers on it. Nothing here is urgent. Nothing is out of place. Everything belongs exactly where it is. You place your hand on the counter and feel the polished wood beneath your palm. Warm in some places, cool in others. The grain visible like gentle ripples in still water. A small clock in the kitchen makes a quiet, steady sound, not to hurry you, only to remind the room that time is passing softly, and that passing time can be peaceful. There is a sink of water that reflects the lamp glow in a blurred golden oval, and a spoon rests nearby on a folded tea towel. You pour a little warm water into a cup, not because anything is needed, only because the motion is pleasant, and the cup is comforting in your hands, and the steam rises in a soft invisible thread. The tea tastes faintly of mint and honey, or maybe chamomile, something mild and easy, something that seems designed by the evening itself to lead the mind toward stillness. You take a sip and let it warm you from the inside. Then you notice the old kitchen chair near the stove, and you sit in it for a little while, the chair creaking once in a very gentle way, as though it is pleased to be useful. The chair is broad and steady, with a cushion that has been sat upon by many evenings, and it supports you completely, without fuss. Across the room, a small bowl of dried lavender sits on a shelf, and the scent is subtle, almost hidden, but when you notice it, it adds one more layer of softness to the air. You let your eyes travel slowly over the shelves, the plates stacked neatly, the polished mugs hanging from hooks, the old books on one corner shelf where recipes and poems and household notes mingle together. Everything seems to have a place. Everything seems content to remain. And you, too, may remain. With the room, with the warmth, with the quiet. When you eventually stand, it is with the easy feeling of someone who has nowhere else to be. You move back through the cottage into the main room, where the fire is lower now, the embers glowing deeper red and orange, and the thick wool blanket still waits on the armchair. You wrap the blanket around your shoulders and feel its weight settle over you in a way that feels almost like being quietly embraced. The wool holds warmth well, and the warmth holds you well. Near the hearth, there is a small basket with more logs, stacked neatly, and beside it a pair of knitted slippers that look large and soft and fully unhurried. You slip your feet into them, and the floor beneath feels solid and safe. Then you move toward the front door just enough to look through the narrow glass panel, and beyond it the world is frost and moonlight, grass and stillness, dark trees and the smooth black mirror of the lake. The cold remains outside, where it belongs. The cottage keeps its warmth. There is no sound except the soft breathing of the fire, and the very faint settling of the house as it rests into the night. A low shelf by the wall holds a few objects that catch the firelight. A ceramic bowl, a brass candlestick, a woven basket with folded linens, and a little framed sketch of the lake in summer, when the water must have shone green and blue under brighter skies. But tonight is winter, and winter has its own beauty, a beauty of quiet edges, of still reflections, of simple lights glowing against the dark. You wander toward the back of the cottage where a narrow hallway leads to a small room with a window facing the mountains. The room is plain and peaceful, with a bed made neatly beneath a patchwork quilt in muted colors, and a chair near the window draped with a shawl. You do not need to get into the bed yet. It is enough to stand there and feel how restful the room already is. The quilt has a hand-stitched look, and the patterns seem to settle the eye, row by row, like little pathways of calm. You look through the window. Outside, the mountain ridge is a dark sleeping shape, and the stars above it are scattered like dust on velvet. The air on the other side of the glass is cold and clear, but the room itself is held in a pocket of warmth. And you can feel the difference between the two as a comforting contrast. A reminder that shelter exists, and warmth exists, and stillness exists. Somewhere in the cottage, a wooden beam gives a tiny settling sound. In the distance, perhaps, there is another cottage far across the water, its lights invisible but imaginable, and the thought of other peaceful homes in the dark makes the whole valley feel gently inhabited, as if every stone and tree and slope is being quietly looked after. You return to the main room and lower yourself into the armchair by the fire, where the wool blanket covers your legs and the leather beneath you is soft from years of use. The fire has become a basin of red embers, and the glow paints the room in deep gold and amber shadows. Your teacup rests nearby. Your shoulders drop. Your hands relax. Your breathing stays easy. You watch the embers for a little while, not to do anything, only to notice how they brighten and dim in a slow, unforced rhythm. The crackle of the fire is tiny now, a little whisper, a little settling sound, and the whole cottage seems to breathe with it. At the window, the cold glass is a pale rectangle in the dark wall, and when you glance toward it, you see only your own softened reflection, the room behind you, and beyond that, the lake catching moonlight in a way that feels almost like silk laid across the water. A cat? Perhaps, or perhaps only the memory of one, sleeps somewhere in the house, curled into a basket by a radiator or a stove, entirely unconcerned with the night. Its sleep seems to encourage the room. Its stillness becomes part of the cottage's stillness. You do not need to move quickly. You do not need to keep the mind busy. You may simply let your eyes drift closed for a moment, then open again, then half close again, as though even seeing can become restful. The room grows quieter. The fire lowers. The blankets feel heavier in a comforting way. The armchair holds you. The cottage holds the evening, and the evening holds the lake, and the lake holds the reflection of the moon, and the moon holds its silence over everything. You sit with that chain of holding for a while, not thinking of it as a sentence, only as a feeling, as an arrangement of softness and support that stretches through the room and out into the landscape. Then, very slowly, you rise again and step toward the little pantry near the kitchen, where the shelves are cool and lined with jars. You notice labels written in neat handwriting: oats, barley, tea, jam, lentils, dried thyme. There is something deeply restful about the order of the shelves, about the way each jar waits in its own place, about the way the pantry smells of grain, paper, spice, and old wood. You take down a small tin of biscuits, set it on the counter, and the sound is small and satisfying. You eat one slowly, and it tastes of butter and oats, dry at the edges and soft within, and nothing about it is rushed. When the biscuit is gone, you wash your hands in the sink, and the water runs warm, and the soap smells faintly of rosemary. Then you dry your hands on the folded towel, which feels thick and clean, and you return the towel to its hook with a small deliberate motion that needs no attention from anyone. The cottage seems to notice and approve without making a fuss. Outside the front window, the frost has deepened across the grass. A fine white pattern spreads over the ground, over the path, over the low wall, over the edges of the garden where dried stems and seed heads stand quietly in the cold. Nothing is struggling. Everything is simply being winter. And winter itself can be peaceful. It can be a season of rest, of inward warmth, of stillness gathered close like a shawl. You stand at the window for a while, and the glass is cold at your fingertips, while the room behind you remains warm, and the contrast becomes its own kind of comfort. The lake is utterly calm, and the stars above it seem to rest on the surface as much as in the sky. The mountain silhouettes are dark and patient. The whole valley is hushed. You feel, Perhaps that even the night is resting. Then you turn back to the fire and see that the embers have become very low indeed, more glow than flame. A deep and steady pulse that seems content to keep you company until sleep comes near. And sleep, here, feels natural. It feels like the next gentle room. It feels like the softest part of the story. Now the cottage is quieter. The fire is lower. The lake is still. The mountain is sleeping. The heather is sleeping. The grass is sleeping. The old stones are sleeping. You are warm. You are held. Nothing needs to happen now. Nothing needs to be completed. The room asks nothing of you. The night asks nothing of you. Only rest. Only the soft opening into sleep. The embers glow like little stars under ash. Red. Gold. Dim. Warm. And then dimmer still. The blanket rests over you like a quiet hand. The chair holds you. The floor holds the chair. The cottage holds the room. The shore holds the cottage. The lake holds the moon. The moon holds the dark. Everything is held. Everything is quiet. You do not need to listen closely. You do not need to follow anything. The story is becoming softer now, thinner now, like mist over water, like breath on a window pane. like the last light in a room just before sleep. There is a warmth in the center of the cottage, and there is a warmth in your own body, and the two seem to meet and stay together without effort. The stillness deepens. The silence deepens. The night deepens. And in that deepening, there is no emptiness. There is comfort. There is ease. There is the soft, familiar feeling of being safely somewhere, in a place that does not ask you to be anything more than what you are. The lake does not move. The trees do not move. The cottage does not move. The embers do not move except in tiny, sleepy glimmers. You do not need to move either. Your breathing is slow now, and every exhale seems to carry away the last small weight of the day. Not in a dramatic way. Only in the way a candle gives up its flame to darkness, and darkness receives it gently. Only in the way snow settles on a branch and the branch simply lets it rest. Only in the way the bed, in the next room, waits with its patchwork quilt and its soft pillow and its quiet promise of stillness. You have done enough. The day is complete. The evening is complete. The cottage is complete. And now the body can be complete in rest. The hands rest. The shoulders rest. The jaw rests. The eyes rest. The thoughts rest. Even the words grow fewer now. Even the images soften at the edges. The fire is almost gone, but the warmth remains. The room is dark, but not lonely. The night is deep, but not cold here. There is only the soft sound of breathing, and the quiet memory of pine smoke, cedar, tea, wool, wood, and moonlight. Rest is becoming the shape of everything. Rest is in the walls. Rest is in the blanket. Rest is in the lake. Rest is in the frost. Rest is in the small cottage by the water, where the world is simple and still. And you may drift now, more and more, into that gentle place where nothing has to be held, because you are already held. Nothing has to be watched. Nothing has to be done. Nothing has to be said. The night is soft. You are safe here. Rest. sleep nap. The lake is still. Warmth remains.